You're listening to the Cool Audio Podcast, your escape into the world of stories, sounds, and imagination. Whether you're driving, chilling at home, or just need a moment to unplug, we've got a story just for you. So sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. It's not that serious. I didn't get any marks from Pudding and Little Bean's pregnancy. I've been using imported creams lately, so it's not a problem. The changes in her body were the biggest giveaway. Jack hadn't been intimate with her after coming back, so he never saw what Chloe's stomach really looked like. At the hospital, she took care of it herself. So if it wasn't for Stella mentioning it, nobody would pay attention to Chloe's stomach. Of course, Stella didn't mean to. It just came up in the conversation. However, that seemed to make Chloe very unhappy. "Chloe, don't be sad. You'll have another." I'm over it. It's in the past now, it's fine." "Right, I have something really important to tell you." Stella suddenly seemed to remember something as she purposefully lowered her voice and sounded mysterious. "Okay, go for it." Stella looked around cautiously and got close to Chloe's ear. "Chloe, that person that you asked for, I've been surveying him and I found something." "Oh? Is that right? What did you find?" Chloe had a hint of a smile at the corners of her mouth, and Stella didn't notice how eerie that looked. She had been with Chloe for a few years, and she knew her well. She would never doubt Chloe, so she was spilling her secrets. Stella lowered her voice again. "Chloe, that James. You were right, he really isn't Thomas's father." "Who is he then?" Chloe calmly asked. "He feels like a monster." Stella felt her hair stand while thinking about it. "Monster?" Chloe raised her eyebrows. Ever since he got here, weird stuff has been happening in the neighborhood. It started with cats and dogs going missing, then it turned to people. Someone was found hidden behind a corner. It's gotten more and more ridiculous. Children between the ages of 4 and 8 are going missing. Everybody in the neighborhood is on edge, and a case has been opened. However, there's been no leads. "What does it have to do with James?" Chloe kept playing dumb. "Even though I didn't see it myself, it's definitely related to him. One night, I saw him get up creepily, so I followed him. I didn't know what he was doing, but he had blood on the corners of his mouth, really. His eyes look scary, too. I don't dare to sleep deeply at night. I'm scared that he's going to do something to me and Thomas or Mom. Too bad. Mom trusts him so much, so I don't know how to tell her. Chloe, you should be the one to do it. You're Mom's favorite, so she listens to you the most out of everyone." Leave it to me." Chloe nodded, deep in thought. "Chloe, what do you think his goal is? I don't know where the situation is going from the looks of things. I secretly installed HD cameras around the house, so I'll see something as soon as he tries anything." "When did you install them?" Staring at Stella's eyes, Chloe asked. "Last night, when Mom and him went out to get groceries. I asked my friend to help me install a lot of cameras. As soon as I get evidence, we're going to hand it to Noah and let the police take care of it." Smiling, Chloe extended her hand. Her long fingernails glided across Stella's shoulder. Out of nowhere, Stella got a cold shiver. "Stella, very good." She said that with a smile plastered on her face, but the smile made others feel uncomfortable. Stella thought that she was just overthinking, so she just nodded. "Anyways, take care of yourself. If you need anything, call me." "Okay, I will. I'll get going now." "Right, Chloe. Thomas is almost back. He should get home tomorrow afternoon. You guys should come home for dinner since we haven't gotten together in a long time. Bring Pudding and Little Bean. Mom really misses them." "Okay." Chloe was still smiling, keeping up her graceful facade at all times. As soon as Stella stepped foot out the door, Chloe's face dropped. With a clenched fist, she cursed, 002, you fool. It looks like we can't stay for long, otherwise my plan will be ruined. In the city, inside a high-class neighborhood. After Noah ate some food, he rose and put on his police uniform. "You're going out again." Sarah just came out of the bathroom, and she was in a pink semi-sheer bathrobe made of silk. She was very seductive. Her hair was damp too, so the scenery made the imagination run wild. Just checking in at the bureau." "You haven't slept in 2 days. Even if you're working overtime, you need a break. You're not made of steel." "Anyways, the superiors told you to take a day off. I thought that we could..." We could use the opportunity when our son isn't here to... Sarah didn't say what came after, but it was evident that Noah knew what his wife was going to say. Noah was a normal man, and Sarah was a normal woman. They were adults that had normal biological needs. However, it seemed to be a long time since the two had been intimate. Noah needed to be at the city bureau, and Sarah had to take care of their son. Finally, Ethan was at school, and Noah had a day off. Sarah took the time to prepare, however. "Honey, please understand. These cases have been too stressful. I'm really not in the mood." Understand. Why should I? Why can't you understand that I'm your wife and not your caretaker? I'm not an old nanny raising your kid, cooking your food, and washing your clothes. Sarah angrily threw her towel onto the ground as her temper rose. "Of course I know, I promise. Once I finish this case, I'll take my annual vacation and take you and Ethan to Barbados, okay?" "Go away." Sarah clearly didn't seem satisfied. After all, it was too difficult for Noah to get a break. "My dearest and beloved wife, if you feel bored, you can visit Chloe," Noah suggested. "No, Chloe just lost her kid and she's in a bad state. If I go, we'll just end up brooding together. Once she gets some time to work it out, I'll force her to go to yoga, badminton, and the gym with me." It seemed like Sarah had a plan. "Okay, baby, behave." Noah left in a hurry. Her anger made Sarah lose her appetite as she simply sat on the living room couch and brooded. At the city bureau. "Director Ace, I thought you had a day off today?" But I'm not taking it. I'll just sleep as soon as I get home. Anyways, how's the situation looking? There have been no leads. How many have been missing?" Noah's face was filled with worry. 4 in total, 3 boys and 1 girl. Their ages are 4, 6, 6, and 7. Any other common traits? They all lived in Sky Blessing Court. Their times of disappearance varied from morning to noon. Sky Blessing Court? Isn't that when Thomas lives? Noah scratched his head and thought about how weird this case was. What are the occupations of their parents? Noah asked. 3 are in finance, most have businesses in the city, and 1 is a pair of university professors, with their grandfather being a retired party member. Any enemies? We did some searching and found that all of them got along. They didn't piss anybody off. Director Ace, maybe it was the rogue thieves? Hasn't this happened before? We can't say for sure. Keep watching. See if we can get a ransom call. Okay. Hope those little guys are still hanging on. Seeing the missing children pained Noah's heart. Especially after Noah became a father, he could finally understand what it felt like. Other than the missing children, 2 other murders happened at the nightclub. The victims were barmaids. The method of death was extremely strange, as all the blood had been sucked dry and the corpses were severely damaged. The bodies looked like they had been torn apart after getting sucked dry by some wild beast. However, this was in a highly populated city. There had been no escapes of violent animals from the zoo. It didn't make sense. Rumors of the presence of vampires were spreading, and even Sarah asked him about it. After Ethan overheard it, he kept on bugging Noah about it, and even told Kenneth and Little Bean about it. A morning of busy work at the city bureau made Noah agitated. When it was time for lunch break, he drove to GK alone. Director Ace. Mark saw Noah and stood up to greet him. He thought that being the director of the city bureau at such a young age must have been difficult. Is Jack here? President Dawson is eating inside. Eating? How convenient. I'll leech off of him. After speaking, Noah pushed open the door and entered. How come you're here? Jack raised his head and was a little surprised when he saw Noah. Nothing, just here to eat your food. After Noah spoke, he pulled up a chair to sit opposite Jack. Looking at Jack's lunch, Noah realized that it was very simple. There were only 2 vegetarian dishes, one being stir-fried cucumbers and the other being stir-fried broccoli. He also had a serving of tofu soup. Bro, are you trying to go vegan? Noah exclaimed. I haven't had much of an appetite lately, Jack said in a melancholic tone. That doesn't cut it for me. I want meat. Get some for me. I'm starving. Without speaking, Jack called a number using the landline. Prepare another lunch set, 2 meats and 2 vegetables. 10 minutes later, the kitchen delivered Noah's meal. It was much more hearty than Jack's. There was meat and fish, as well as Taiwanese braised meat rice with a soft boiled egg on top. Noah seemed to be starving as he chomped down on the food without paying much mind to Jack. After drinking a few sips of soup, Jack lost his appetite. He kept going through reports. Jack? I've encountered a difficult case. I have a feeling. I feel like some foreign being has invaded our city. While eating, Noah said. You must have watched too much Star Wars. Jack laughed without following up, as he thought that Noah's words were outlandish. Jack, I'm not lying to you. I haven't felt like this after many years of being a police officer. The body we found a few days ago, it was as mutilated as Bella's. The culprit must be someone more cruel and insane than Andrew. So, Director Ace, what's your conclusion? Putting down the documents, Jack raised his head to look at Noah. Jack, could it be that Andrew is still alive? Out of nowhere, Noah made a sudden guess. Impossible. As soon as Noah proposed the seemingly ridiculous idea, Jack turned it down. You know how many connections that guy has? Sometimes he's Andrew, sometimes he's Hunter. He's got a lot of tricks. Noah had demonized Andrew in his head, and even thought that he was superhuman. Jack kept his calm. Bro, don't be foolish. That could never be true. First, Chloe and Justin watched him blow up. I saw the DNA test results of the body fragments. I ran them through my own tests too, and it was Andrew for sure. Second, no matter how many connections he has, he couldn't have escaped the explosion alive. His goal wouldn't have been human blood either. He only ever had one goal. When Jack said that, he paused. Noah finally understood and finished Jack's sentence. Chloe. Yes, the only goal Andrew had in his life was Chloe. It was still the same even when he turned into Hunter. So it doesn't make sense for him to harm strangers. Sigh, I fried my brain working overtime. How could I not have realized that? Ha, Jack, if your company ever goes bankrupt, you can be my deputy. I think you're very gifted, Noah joked. Jack gave Noah a menacing gaze, then fired back. If you ever lose your job and get fired by the city bureau, come to GK. I'll let you clean my office for me. Ha ha, oh you never take the losing side. Seeing that Jack was in a good enough mood to joke with him, Noah left after eating, not thinking much about it. Jack had some things that he wanted to bring up to Noah. However, Noah was buried in his own affairs, so Jack thought that it'd be inappropriate to say, at school, during gym class, Little Bean was as fast as the wind as she ran around the field with the soccer ball. Everyone was a little older than Little Bean, so maybe they let her have her way. Pudding was sitting on a bench with her phone in hand, a little zoned out. What are you thinking about? Kenneth approached Pudding and sat beside her. Kenneth wasn't in the same class as Pudding. At the beginning, they went to different schools. He transferred later. Our piano class is so dull. I can play those pieces with my eyes closed. I came out for fresh air and saw you sitting here. You seem to have something on your mind. Pudding lowered her head and didn't speak. It's okay if you don't want to talk about it. I'll just sit with you for a bit. Do you think that my face is as ugly now as when I lose my stocks? Tilting her head, Pudding chuckled. Not at all, because you never lose stocks. From what I've heard, you've never lost since you started trading. You're the female Buffett. What Buffett? I just got lucky with my dad's help. I'm actually really like my dad. Yes, Uncle Dawson's nature is the same as yours. But I feel like I'm like my mom, calm and collected. Miss Pudding, narcissism is an illness and needs to be treated. Do you have the medication for that? Pudding cracked a sweet smile. She rarely made jokes with guys, but Kenneth was different. She seemed to really like that boy. I don't have a cure, but I can try curing you, but it might take a rather long time. How long? Puzzled, Pudding looked at him. Maybe for the rest of my life. Pudding felt her heart skip a beat. It was a strange feeling. It was quite funny hearing such a young child talk about the rest of his life. However, Pudding got the feeling that Kenneth wasn't joking. Kenneth's parents were no less intelligent than Pudding's parents. With Brenton and Victoria's intelligence, they birthed a good son. Pudding and Kenneth's emotional intelligences were far more developed than Little Bean and Ethan. In this group of children, the most childlike one was Ethan. He was more pure. Although Pudding and Kenneth were regarded as little geniuses, their parents weren't really happy about it. There was once when the two families had a gathering where Chloe said that she didn't want her daughter to mature too early. When a child is young, They should do childlike things. Pudding came into contact with society too early, trading stocks and managing money. That gave her a big mental burden, preventing her from being a naive, happy child. Ahem. Pudding felt a little awkward and changed the conversation. How's Auntie Victoria? My mom's doing great. She's a workaholic on the same level as Aunt Chloe, haha. What about your aunt? She's been great after remarrying. Grandpa and Dad seem to be more open to Uncle Chase now. Although they still hold it against him, they stopped making passive-aggressive comments. Our conversations are so weird, huh? We're not like little kids at all. Realizing the situation, Pudding found it funny. Pudding, you've seemed down for the past 2 days, and you've been quiet on Snap. Is it because... When Kenneth said that, he didn't dare to continue and seemed to be observing Pudding's face. What? Pudding wasn't sure what Kenneth meant. Aunt Chloe's baby. I overheard my parents talking about it. Is it because you lost your brother? Even though I don't know why, it's bad news. It's impacted our family for sure, but that's not why. Pudding thought about it but didn't know how to say it. Kenneth, if someone looked exactly like your mom, with the same personality, voice, and mannerisms, would you be able to tell that she's pretending to be your mom? To be honest, I don't know how to answer. That question came out of nowhere and caught me off guard. I think that I won't be able to tell at first, but I'll feel it as time goes on. After all, I know the little details in her life. Why? Why ask that out of nowhere? Kenneth thought that Pudding was behaving strangely. All of their conversation topics were morbid. Nothing. I've been watching too much sci-fi. Come hang out at my house this weekend. My dad's artist friend is coming over, and I want to learn from him. No, thank you. I have plans with Handsome Cooper. We're going to Grandpa Cooper's house for dinner. Okay, next time. Okay. Seeing that it was almost time, Kenneth quietly got up and returned to his classroom. Watching the clouds in a daze, Pudding asked, Mom, should I keep trusting you? Is that really you? Pudding didn't know if her gut feeling was right. She wanted to find an opportunity to tell her father, but didn't dare to. She didn't want to hurt her father because she doubted her mother. However, Pudding could feel that her mother had been strange after coming back from Yunnan. Her whole being was weird, but Pudding couldn't pinpoint what was wrong. Anyways, that kind of feeling was really strong. In secret, she searched through a lot of information on her phone, including jinxes and evil curses. She also searched up demonic possession and other supernatural possibilities. She thought that if she had a chance to see her grandmother, she would ask if there were any powerful healers in the city, so she could check out what was wrong with her mommy. It didn't make sense that her father couldn't sense what she was feeling. So, Pudding was very conflicted. However, she didn't dare tell anyone. At the same time, on the other side of Earth, at the Ocean Palace, Chloe slowly walked up and finally made out the shape of a woman sitting on the throne. She couldn't tell what she looked like, as she was wearing a crystal mask. This was the first time Chloe saw a crystal mask in her life. It must have required top talent to create. Seeing the mask made Chloe think about Layla and her golden mask. They must be connected in some way. They both wore masks, so they must be allies. Child, you're here. The voice was beautiful, but the call towards Chloe made her confused. Who are you? Why did you bring me here? What do you have to do with Layla? Where are my friends? Chloe had too many questions and asked 4 in a row. The woman only smiled, then she began walking down the steps. Every step, the golden accessories on her clinked. She had on a queen-like cape. It was gorgeous and eye-catching. It looked like a dream, not reality. Chloe, do you know who I am? When Chloe heard that, her pupils contracted. She didn't know why the woman would say such a thing. Chloe, you've always been bright. I heard that when you were young, your intelligence was far higher than the average child. Since you're so smart, why don't you guess who I am? Do we know each other? Chloe was puzzled. Don't you think I look familiar? The woman stared into Chloe's eyes and smiled. The crystal mask covered half of her face, but Chloe could see her nose and mouth. Staring at the face, Chloe felt a wave of familiarity rush in. She searched through her memory, trying to remember where she had seen the woman. However, after a while, She couldn't recall anything. "I don't care who you are. Stop playing tricks. You didn't go through all that trouble to get me here to just feed me food." Chloe knew that they must have had a motive. She didn't know what it was exactly, but she felt that it could be connected to Professor Wagner. She heard Fiona say that there was something extremely important in her father's hands. That was what many were after. Legend hunted down Fiona for years for it. After hearing Chloe's words, the woman raised her hand and slowly took off the mask. Chloe paused her breathing when she saw her face. There was a voice beside her ear. The woman said in a soft voice, "Chloe, I am your mother." Chloe had never imagined that she'd meet Lynn, at least not an alive Lynn. At this moment, her mind went blank with only one voice resonating in her head. "Chloe, I'm your mom. I'm your mom." Not able to process the words, Chloe passed out. She had a long dream in which she was only about 6 years old. She was playing in a pretty house with her mom and dad. "Chloe, come to Mommy." Chloe stumbled over and threw herself into her mother's arms. Smelling the unique warm scent that belonged to her mom, she looked up at the unbelievably exquisite face. Then the scene changed, and she turned into herself or Layla. "Chloe, I finally caught you." Chloe woke up from the dream with a start. Drenched in sweat, she looked around in alarm, hoping she was in her home in South Hill Manor, and her husband was by her side. When she had a nightmare at home, Jack would wake up immediately and pat her back to comfort her. He'd hold her from behind, making her feel safe. But she was still in that damned white room. The baby moved violently in her womb. Chloe touched her belly subconsciously. "Baby, don't be afraid. Mommy is here. We'll find a way to get out of here, okay? We'll go back home and see your daddy and sisters," Chloe murmured to herself. Then she got off the bed. Hearing the sounds, the maid entered the room. "Miss Chloe, what can I do for you?" The maid said politely, but her face was always expressionless, making Chloe suspect they were feelingless machines. "Where's she? I want to see her." "The master is out. Miss Chloe, you were unconscious for 24 hours. You must have a good rest." "Out? Where did she go?" "I don't know." "Where's Messiah?" "She's resting. Do you want me to call her?" "Forget it. Let her rest." Chloe knew she'd get no information from Messiah anyway. "I'm hungry. I want food." "Miss Chloe, what do you want to eat? We'll make it for you." "I want pork and celery dumplings." "What?" The maid obviously didn't know what she meant. After all, they were not in the country, and the maid had never heard about this food. "I want to eat dumplings." Chloe sat in the chair sulkily and began to pant. She truly wanted to eat dumplings, especially dumplings made by her mother Sandra. She missed the black pepper pasta made by her husband. She missed the sweet and sour pork ribs and deep-fried meatballs made by her mother-in-law. She missed Pudding and Little Bean, wondering what they were doing. She wondered what happened to Justin in that explosion. She had too many people and things on her mind. She lowered her head, and tears slid down her cheeks. She knew what happened during the day wasn't a dream. That woman said she was her mother for a reason. After seeing James come back from death, Chloe was very suspicious of the Lynn who claimed to be her mother. It was midnight in the headquarters of GK Group. Jack worked late until 9 p.m. and was about to leave the building. The moment he walked into the elevator, the lights in it went off suddenly. Then he felt he wasn't alone. Instinctively, Jack touched his pistol tucked at the small of his back. It was a habit he had formed in the States. It was a subconscious move to defend himself in danger. 3 seconds later, the lights in the elevator turned back on. Jack was holding his gun at that guy's head. "Calm down. I'm not here to make trouble for you." He spoke standard English with a little German accent. Seeing the guy's face, Jack said in surprise, "Nalo?" Who was Nalo? In Germany, there were 2 famous brothers. The elder brother was a mafia leader, and the younger one was a terrorist. Nalo was Legend's elder brother, the guy who was rumored to have a close relationship with Andrew. Dressed in an English-style dark gray cashmere coat, Nalo looked like a good-mannered gentleman. No one would suspect that he was a leader of the German mafia. But Jack didn't lower his guard since Nalo wasn't his friend. "I'm glad that you still recognize me." Nalo smiled. Jack didn't lower his gun. It was still held against Nalo's head. "Young man, calm down. Can we talk?" Nalo asked mildly. The elevator went down to the first floor. The moment the door opened, Jack withdrew his gun swiftly. They walked out of the elevator together. "Do you have time for a cup of tea? I hear you people like tea," Nalo offered. "Whatever." Jack knew he couldn't refuse this guy. If he messed with this guy, there might be trouble. Instead of feeling fear or panic, he went with Nalo alone. Nalo's men followed them from a distance, watching them carefully. Nalo got into Jack's black Bentley and went to a high-end tea house downtown. In the compartment on the top floor, a pretty waitress made a pot of Westlake Longjing and poured a cup for each of them. Jack and Nalo sat across from each other. "You can talk now. I need to go home." Obviously, Jack didn't want to have dealings with Nalo. Nalo took off his hat calmly and put it on the table. Picking up his teacup, he sipped lightly. Tea culture is profound. Green liked having tea when he was in Germany. His favorite is Da Hong Pao tea, Nalo murmured to himself. Jack didn't speak. He just listened quietly. "We heard about what happened to your wife. I'm sorry that you lost the baby." "You're well informed." Jack looked calm. "In fact, I've been searching for Green when I happened upon the news about the explosion. I came to ask you if Green indeed died." Jack picked up his teacup and sipped, then he put it down slowly. "Andrew is indeed dead." "You saw it?" Nalo asked as if he couldn't accept the fact. "No, but Justin and Chloe saw it. I found pieces of his body from the site and confirmed it with DNA tests." "What a shame. He's gone like that." Nalo looked depressed and his eyes dimmed slightly. He had come all the way to the country at the risk of his life just to hear the words from Jack personally, knowing Jack was never a liar. Hearing Andrew was indeed dead, Nalo looked very sad. At the end, was he Hunter or... Nalo knew about Andrew's alternate personality. "He was Andrew," answered Jack. Nalo went silent and continued to sip tea. They didn't speak for 3 minutes and the air seemed to have frozen. Finally, Nalo finished his tea. He stood up slowly and said, "Thank you for telling me this. It's time to go." Jack stood up too. "I paid for the tea. Thank you." The moment Nalo turned, he heard Jack say, "We won't meet again." Yeah, he didn't want to see any of these people again, Ian or Nalo. Legend kept chasing after Fiona, but Nalo had never shown any enmity toward them. But still, Jack didn't want to see any of them again. As they walked to the door, Nalo thought of something. He looked back at Jack. "Is Fiona dead?" "I don't know." Jack told him the truth. "It would be a shame if she died, but the rumors say that if she doesn't show up soon, her organization and base would disintegrate." Before he left, Nalo told him this either as a warning or a reminder. Jack was frustrated. With his own problem unsolved, he didn't have energy to search for Fiona. After Fiona's disappearance, the professor was out of touch too. Riker went to search for Fiona, but hadn't sent back any information. The rumors from both the white and black societies all said Fiona had died. Countless people, including her subordinates, her connections, her clients, and her enemies, were all waiting for news about her. If she died, there would be a great commotion in the mercenary world. After all, the young demon had been the #1 mercenary for a long time. On his way back home, Jack felt uneasy. In fact, he didn't want to return home as eagerly as before. He could feel his repulsion of Chloe growing stronger. He hadn't wanted to touch her from the beginning, and now he didn't even want to see her. He wondered why. Was it because he was displeased that Chloe sacrificed their baby to save Justin? No, that wasn't the reason. Yeah, he was sad that their baby was gone, but he wasn't so narrow-minded that he'd blame Chloe because of Justin. In South Hill Manor, Jack went into the main bedroom. Watching Chloe in deep sleep with unreadable eyes for a moment, he turned. "Honorable." Chloe sat up suddenly and looked Jack in the eye. "You're awake?" "I had a bad dream. I dreamed of lots of blood and that explosion. It's all in the past, Chloe. Hun, please don't go to the study. Please stay with me, okay?" Chloe had tears in her eyes as she looked at him beseechingly. The look in her eyes was pitiable and hard to refuse. But Jack stood where he was, looking untouched. "Honorable, you don't love me anymore?" Chloe's words caught him by surprise. "Why did you ask?" Jack sounded hoarse as he looked at Chloe in the darkness. "You've been avoiding me ever since we came back from Yunnan." Don't think I don't know it. Are you angry with me because I lost our baby? Jack remained silent. You think in my heart Justin is more important to me than you and the baby, right? Chloe demanded in an aggressive voice. She had thought Jack would apologize to her or say something to comfort her, but he didn't. Chloe, you're imagining things. Go back to sleep. Jack, stop. Tell me, are you disgusted with me? You don't love me now? Or are you suspicious there's something between me and Justin? Chloe raised her voice suddenly. Jack paused his steps. Why do you say that? Jack looked at her in surprise. Chloe said slowly, when we were locked in one room together, Zoe drugged Justin to get revenge. You know, the drug is that special kind. While we stayed in one room by ourselves, Jack's pupils contracted. Zoe thought something would happen between us, but Justin didn't do anything to me. You must believe me that there's nothing between me and Justin. Chloe, what on earth do you want to tell me? I only want to say, hun, we've been together for years. Don't you know my character? Jack was silent. I didn't want to lose our baby. I truly didn't. Why do you blame me? Justin saved our lives and you agreed to let me go and rescue him, right? But you regret your decision now? Hun, this is not like you. Tell me why. Do you want me to divorce you? Chloe, you're exhausted. Go to sleep. That said, Jack turned and left the room. Furious, Chloe threw a cushion at the door. After Jack left, she revealed a weird smile. Chloe, your man is not special. I thought he loved you deeply. Heh, what an irony. It seems he feels disgusted with you now. Poor woman. Jack walked into his study. The moment he sat down, Pudding went in with a cup of coffee in her hands. Barefooted, she wore a pale blue cotton sleeping gown. Daddy? Pudding, what are you doing here? Come here, it's cold on the floor. Seeing his beloved child walk on the floor barefooted, he immediately picked her up. Taking the coffee from her hands, he placed it on the desk carefully. Mommy used to make a cup of coffee for you, Daddy. Lately, you like Americano without sugar. Right, you're smart, baby. Pudding's words warmed Jack's heart like a mini sun. Daddy, did you argue with Mommy? You heard it? Yeah, Pudding nodded. It's no big deal. Don't worry. Your mommy is in a foul mood lately. We must stay away from her. But I heard her mention divorce. They were words spoken in the moment of anger. They don't mean anything. Daddy, have you felt Mommy? Pudding looked at Jack in the eye and wanted to tell him her opinion about the issue, but she had a feeling that her daddy was trying to stop her words with his eyes. Yeah, I feel it too. You Mommy is quick-tempered lately. After all, she's still recovering. She'll be fine in a while. Jack interrupted her and didn't allow Pudding to continue. A smart girl, Pudding seemed to understand his intention and didn't bring it up again. Then she told her daddy the things happening in the school and the fun stuff between her and her sister. In the main bedroom, Chloe put away the Bluetooth headphones. The talk between the father and daughter is so boring. Cautiously, she monitored the conversation between Jack and Pudding. Finding the content boring, she pulled down her headphone and tossed it to one side. Taking Pudding back to her room, Jack activated the anti-surveillance device. He dialed the professor's number again. Right now, he desperately needed help from his father-in-law. They had to find Fiona first. Unfortunately, he couldn't get through to the professor. Resigned, he called Riker. Brother-in-law, Riker, where are you? Yunnan. You're still there? Fiona is wounded, and I don't think she would have been able to get far from here. I decided to start from the position where she was wounded and expand the searching area little by little. You found no clues? No, Riker sounded depressed. Can you get in touch with the professor? No, I don't know why. It seems the professor is in trouble too, Jack analyzed. Do you need me to do something for you? No, be careful. I will. Hanging up, Jack slept in the study. On the next morning when they had breakfast, they didn't see Chloe. Jack, where's Chloe? Jack's mother didn't know they slept in separate rooms. She should be in the bedroom. I'll go and check up on her. The young madam went out in the morning, a housemaid said. Where did she go? Jack was surprised. She didn't say. I saw her go out dressed in a thick coat at a little past 5 a.m. She hasn't come back. Jack dialed Chloe's number and found it was powered off. What's wrong with you two? Realizing something was amiss, his mother asked. We argued last night. Son, how could you argue with Chloe? She's just lost the baby. What's wrong with you? You should be more considerate with her. His mother scolded him. His father said, Jack, forget the breakfast. Go and find her. Maybe she went to Sky Blessing Court, Sarah's, or Victoria's. She's fine. Chloe isn't a willful person. She's low in spirits, and it will do her good to go out. Son, what are you talking about? She's your wife. How can you bear to see her in this state? His parents found his attitude toward Chloe quite weird. Jack didn't say more about it. Finishing breakfast calmly, he drove the twins to school. On the way, Little Bean began to complain. Daddy, you seem very cold to Mommy. No, I'm busy with the business in the company. Really? I hope you don't have another woman. Little Bean's words made Jack laugh. If I did, what would you do? My sister and I will, of course, join hands and fight the other woman and protect our Mommy. Besides, Daddy, I trust your taste in women. No woman in the world is better than our Mommy. Yeah, in the world, no woman is better than your Mommy. Jack sighed lightly. Dropping the kids into the school, Jack returned to his car and got a call. Seeing the number of the caller, Jack activated the anti-surveillance device before answering the call. Oh, the result is out? Did you check it? Yeah, President Dawson. We checked it several times. Very good. Stay put. Wait for my instructions. Yes, President Dawson. Hanging up, Jack felt relieved. He finally got his suspicion confirmed. The snow in the northern city turned heavier. It could go on from early morning to evening. Jack looked up at the feathery snowflakes falling from the sky and said, Chloe, I know you're guiding me from somewhere. I won't let you down. Justin became the main character of tabloid gossip again, since he went to nightclubs almost every night and then went home with a foreign young model who'd leave his house 2 hours later. Many paparazzi thought Justin had returned to his old life as a playboy. Many tabloids began to report it with titles like, Justin, a reformed rake? Impossible. Prince of the Cooper family gave up old love and returns to playboy life. Tired of waiting for married woman, Justin looks for new love. Foreign young models? Who's Justin's next girlfriend? Reading these reports, Justin almost laughed out loud. Boss, how can you laugh about it? They almost make you out to be a stag in heat, saying you bring home lots of women each night. Anne was indignant for his boss, wishing he could tell everyone that it was only a ruse that his boss brought those women home. In fact, he did nothing with those women who only sat in the living room for 2 hours and left with a considerable amount of money. But why did Justin put on this stupid and extravagant charade? Only Anne knew the answer. After he returned from Yunnan, Justin had been blaming himself for what had happened. Later, the self-blaming became fear. He was afraid to see Jack or Chloe, thinking it was his fault that she lost the baby. He didn't dare to have idle time at his hand. After his busy work in the company, he went to nightclubs to get drunk, telling himself that he had forgotten Chloe. As he had done years ago, he began to pretend to be sleeping with women, but he did it only to cover his guilt. I don't care what they write about me. I'm happy to provide gossip to them. Aren't you afraid Miss Melody will misunderstand you? Anne felt sorry for Melody, who loved Justin. What's it to do with Melody? She's not my girlfriend, Justin said without thinking. What if she becomes your girlfriend one day? Shut up. After scolding Anne, Justin lowered his head to continue reading financial news. At lunch break, Mrs. Cooper came to the company with a purple Lady Dior handbag, dressed elegantly in a dark-colored down mid-length coat over a beige suit dress. Mom, what are you doing here? Oh, nothing. I was passing your company and wondered if you had time to have lunch with me. Okay, I'm happy to oblige. Justin put away his files, grabbed his coat, and walked out of the building with his mother. Mrs. Cooper liked to eat in a restaurant behind the company, since she preferred the traditional dishes here. When they walked in, Justin saw Melody from the distance. You asked her to come? Justin knew it wasn't an accident to see Melody here. Yeah, I bumped into Melody when I entered your company and asked her to come here and choose dishes. The three of them sat in a small compartment upstairs. Melody felt a bit nervous when she saw Justin. President Cooper. Sit down. Have you placed the order, Melody? Mrs. Cooper looked at Melody benignly. Aunt, I chose one dish. You and President Cooper choose the rest. I'm not picky and can eat anything. Okay, give me the menu. Taking the menu, Mrs. Cooper walked out with the waitress as she read it, leaving Justin and Melody in the room. The atmosphere became a bit awkward. President Cooper, you're very busy lately, taking foreign young models home, etc. You must take good care of yourself. Ahem. I heard doctors say overindulgence is bad for one's health. Justin chuckled. I say, little girl, your tongue is still sharp. You even have the nerve to diss your boss. I didn't diss you. I was stating the fact and gave my sincere advice to my boss. But faithful words grate upon the ear, right? You mean I should thank you? You're welcome. You can show your gratitude by giving me a bigger bonus at the end of the month. Shame on you, Melody. You got a Bugatti Veyron from me already. What else do you want? I won it in a bet. Having not sparred with her for a long time, Justin suddenly felt his mood lightening as he bickered with her. He had never felt so light-hearted since he came back from Yunnan. To be honest, whenever he was alone, he'd sink into self-blaming and guilt to Chloe. However, whenever he saw Melody, the girl seemed to have a magic power to make him forget his worries temporarily. It was why he was never repelled by her company. Soon, Mrs. Cooper came back and sat next to Justin. Melody, I heard you took another reality show. Oh, President Cooper arranged it. You sound as if you are blaming me for it. Justin chuckled. No, not at all. I'm grateful to you, really. Sometimes I'm so overwhelmed by my gratitude that I almost want to kneel and kowtow to you. Melody's playfulness lightened Mrs. Cooper's mood. In fact, ever since Justin was kidnapped, Mrs. Cooper had been listless with devastation. She was stunned for a long time after Melody said those words to her. From then on, she had felt this girl was very nice and wanted to bring them together. Justin would be fortunate if he married the girl. As the waitress brought dishes to the table, Mrs. Cooper kept placing food onto Melody's plate. Melody felt a bit overwhelmed by her kindness. Melody, how old are you now? I'll be 26 after the spring festival. I'm getting old. Melody bit onto a pork rib and said with a chuckle. With oil smeared on her lips, she looked cute. 26? Yeah, you're not a little girl now. Have you had a boyfriend after you came here? Mrs. Cooper asked on purpose since she knew the details about Melody's life very well. She just wanted Justin to hear it. Justin only nibbled his food and listened to the conversation between his mother and Melody. I don't have time for that. Ever since I entered Imperial Star, I've been as busy as a dog. No, in fact, even a dog isn't as busy as I am. I count seconds even when I go to the washroom. I just have no time for a boyfriend. Ha. Yeah, the dance show was hard work. Don't take such difficult shows in the future. Mrs. Cooper put another pork rib onto Melody's plate. Melody. Yeah? What kind of boys do you like? I know many people and can introduce some young men to you if I know your expectations for your boyfriend. Melody paused and stole a shy glance at Justin. I have only 2 requirements, male and alive. Mrs. Cooper heaved with laughter. Girl, you are so funny. You are like a stand-up comedian. I'm serious with my question. Answer me earnestly. In fact, I hope my boyfriend will be like President Cooper. Before Melody could finish her sentence, Justin looked uncomfortable. He picked up his glass and gulped down water to cover his discomfort. Melody continued, I hope my boyfriend will be like President Cooper's bodyguard and... Ahem, I see. Justin heaved out a sigh of relief. He had thought Melody would say she hoped her boyfriend would be like President Cooper. Unfortunately, despite her straightforwardness, Melody was too shy to speak her mind at the critical moment. After she was interrupted by Justin when she tried to tell him her feelings, she thought Justin had no interest in her. She might have imagined the special attitude Justin had for her. He might be doing it as a favor to Chloe. Child, you have a low standard. Mrs. Cooper smiled, knowing Melody was too shy to speak her mind. Mom, what are you talking about? And is a great guy, okay? Justin defended Anne immediately. If Mr. Anne didn't love Queen Fiona, I'd like to bring you guys together. Who's Queen Fiona? Mrs. Cooper looked puzzled. Please don't. It's just a metaphor. I meant Anne's got a good character. I just hope my future boyfriend will have as good of a character as Anne's. Melody hurried to explain. Mrs. Cooper didn't get much information about Melody's requirements for her future boyfriend, but she was patient. After lunch, Mrs. Cooper left with her bodyguards while Justin and Melody walked back to the company. To avoid the paparazzi waiting at the front gate, they chose to enter the building through the back entrance in tacit agreement. The atmosphere turned awkward again now that they were walking together by themselves. They strolled on the street like a couple. Melody sneaked a glance at Justin. With his tall build, Justin looked dashing no matter what he wore. He looked like a model. He always liked pale colors, mainly white and beige. In winter, he usually wore pale blue and pale coffee-colored cashmere coats or thin jackets. Today, he wore a short coffee-colored coat with the classic Medusa logo on the left sleeve. Versace wasn't the most expensive brand, but it was his favorite. He was as loyal to this brand as he was loyal to his love for Chloe. "What are you looking at?" Justin glanced at her in puzzlement. "I'm looking at our dashing, handsome Cooper. You're like a model." "Humph, you can suck up as well as Little Bean." "Ha ha, I'm not as cute as Little Bean." "You're not as cute, but you are a bigger eating machine than her. You're a senior eating machine." "President Cooper, how can you trash-talk your performer? Bosses from other companies cherish their performers." "But I'm not another boss, right?" "Fine, you win." Melody cupped her hands. Justin chuckled. As they reached the elevator bank, they saw a person walk out of an elevator. Justin and Melody froze in surprise because the person was Chloe. Dressed in a white long coat, she looked haggard with hair hanging loose on her shoulders. She glanced at Melody indifferently and then looked at Justin. "Chloe, what are you doing here?" Justin was surprised that she was here. Shouldn't she be staying in bed? "Do you have a second?" Chloe said with a choke in her voice. "Of course. Let's go to my office." Justin immediately led Chloe to the elevator. "Sister Chloe." Melody had wanted to greet Chloe and say something to her. She had asked her mother to buy some top-quality deer fetus extract as a tonic for Chloe. When it arrived, she'd bring the gift to visit Chloe. But before she could go, Chloe came to Imperial Star. From the looks of her, she was in a bad condition. Chloe didn't stop when Melody called out to her. Melody stood where she was, feeling a bit embarrassed. She thought Chloe was displeased that she didn't visit her. Chloe might think she had become arrogant just because she got second place in the dance show. Even though this wasn't the truth, Melody still felt guilty. Taking out her cell phone, she sent a long message to Chloe. "Sister Chloe, I'm sorry. I apologize to you for not visiting you after you came back a few days ago. It wasn't because I was busy or other stuff. I just thought you went through a lot and needed some rest and quiet. Maybe you think I'm an ungrateful person, but please don't get angry with me. I'm not that kind of person. I'll forever remember all the things you did for me." She waited for a long while but received no reply. Disappointed, she returned to the performance department. Chloe had muted her cell phone and put it in her bag, so she didn't see the message. In fact, even if she saw it, she'd not reply to it. She'd ignore all the people she deemed unimportant. She wasn't in the mood anyway. "President Green." Anne was excited to see her, but Chloe ignored him coldly and walked into the room. Anne touched his head, thinking his eyes had played tricks on him. The look in her eyes was very strange. Even when she was in a foul mood, she'd never be so cold to people around her. Not daring to say anything, Anne stood on guard at the door. Justin poured a glass of water for Chloe. "It's cold. Have some water first." Justin took off his coat and sat on the sofa some distance from her. Chloe took the glass but didn't speak. "Chloe, what's going on? You look unhappy," Justin said. "Justin, I want to divorce Jack." It was obvious that she said it in resentment. "Divorce? Stop it, sis. Why divorce? For the sake of your kids, you must put up with him." Justin joked, but Chloe didn't smile. "Justin, he dislikes me." "Dislikes you? Impossible. Even if all the men in the world dislike you, he'd never dislike you," Justin said with conviction. "What's wrong with you? Aren't you his rival in love? Why do you speak for him? Do you dislike me too?" As she spoke, tears began to well up in her eyes. Justin felt hurt inside at the sight. No, I didn't mean it. I was just joking. What's wrong with you guys? Tell me slowly, okay? Please, don't cry." Justin stood up and brought her a box of tissue. Obediently, she drew out a tissue and wiped tears from her eyes. "After we came back, Jack has been cold to me." Chloe told Justin what had happened between her and Jack. Hearing her words, Justin was astonished. Thanks for tuning in to the Cool Audio Podcast. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow story lover. Until next time, stay cool and keep listening.